cup of tea for yourself? I know it's early morning, and thank you so much for joining in so early in the morning. We have a couple of minutes, and while talking also, you can have your tea, Michelle. That's perfectly fine. And how was your birthday celebration?
It was fabulous.
So, Michelle, here everyone prefers coffee. So why tea for you? Is it your Filipinos background?
Actually, I think it's more because of my cancer. They stopped me from drinking a lot of caffeinated things. And so I switched to tea and I never moved back.
Okay. Yeah. In the US, it's coffee mostly. And
in the Philippines, it's black coffee.
Yeah, black coffee. And tea is gaining, but coffee is way ahead than tea.
In India, definitely is coffee and tea, both. I think it's kind of both. Some South India is coffee and North India is tea.
Yeah.
And for health reasons, it was tea. They really wanted me on green tea. So I love tea. But I drink it like coffee. You know, it might as well be coffee. I'm always drinking it.
I know you enjoyed the coffee here when you were here with me at my home. You enjoyed the coffee too.
Yes, and I'm coming back, by the way.
Oh, when are you coming?
As soon as I can. Ooh, I know something we should do. I need to turn off notifications of everything else.
Right.
She's putting the thought out there, Srividya.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Quit. Google Chrome.
So we just have a couple of more minutes for everyone to join in, and we could start in a while. Those of you who have already joined, thank you for joining in. And we will start in next couple of minutes so that we give time for everyone to log in, join in.
And we're live on your Facebook page, right?
Right.
I'm waiting for it to show up so that I can share it.
It's already live on FB. If you go to the link I had sent you, so if you go live there, you can see, and then you can share it from there.
Ah, it's another page. Okay. There we are.
So I've also shared once again so that.
Lots of videos of me looking down at my phone.
So what's the feeling in the morning, Michelle? What's your feeling right now?
I love mornings.
You love mornings. Very good.
Yeah. But you know, I didn't go to bed till 3 o'clock this morning. So I think I'm still awake from last night.
What happened?
I could see responses. Yeah, middle of your night, I'm like, Michelle is responding. So I said, okay, she's too excited for this event. That's what happens, right? When we are so excited, we don't want to sleep.
Well, I didn't want to miss it. It's like, oh, what if I oversleep? Oh, I have to I'll just stay awake. I'll just stay awake. Very bad choice. Very bad choice. I don't suggest it to anyone. My husband looked at me. He goes, "Why are you still awake?"
Okay. Let's start.
Yes. So we can start. Yeah, it's 6:30 right now, evening India time, and 7 a.m. US time, because we have audience from not only India, US, I'm sure there are from the other parts of the world too. So it's good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So I will say namaskar, so which is neutral for everyone. Namaskar and welcome to this session. It's such a pleasure to have all of you part of this session. It's wonderful to have Shravan and Michelle also. A warm welcome to all of you. I just wanted to share this event going on live to express my gratitude for all that I have received from this being a TEDx speaker. While I express, I thought we'll share some of our experiences with all of you as an audience, maybe how to be an effective speaker or anything else related to being a TEDx speaker and how it changed our life, etc. is what we thought we will share with all of you to show our gratitude. My sincere gratitude. Before that, let me introduce myself. I'm Sri Vidya Nagaraju, in short, to be called Shri. Uh, I believe the world would be a better place if learning and growth is made interesting. With that mission or objective purpose in life, I've been facilitating learning through training, mentoring, coaching, counseling as the need is. And it's been a tremendous journey. While you help others learn, you learn more than what others learn from us. So that's been a tremendous journey for me. I'm also into lot bringing our Indian history, scripture based learning to today's management and leadership. I've been enjoying doing that work. And yes, a lot of other work continues. Let me take my pleasure in introducing Shravan, whom I want to first share my gratitude because he was the curator of TEDx Colorado Springs, and Michelle was my co-speaker. To talk about Shravan, he I got introduced to him in 2004, 6 years ago, almost the same time. We some of our common connected, and we had a 1 hour of phone call conversation that has taken all the way for us to work together in TEDx or a lot of other projects. Both of us are continuing to work, and we've been mentoring each other as well while we are doing. If I have some challenge, I know I can call Shravan or just to discuss, and he does that. It's been a tremendous journey. To talk a little about Shravan, one of the very rare person I have met. He's been a successful IT person and one of those very few who feel content about their financial earning and says, enough of me earning my career. It's time for me to start giving back and contribute back. So he is working now at least 10, 12 hours or 14 hours sometimes a day. But that whole work is adding value to students, the youth in India. And so he's gone back to his own uh, alma mater, and he is helping youth grow. Tremendous growth, that's been amazing. So thank you so much, Shravan, for joining in this early morning and opening a big world for me personally by inviting me there. And Michelle, my good friend, how do I describe her? As she's in the red, so she's very vibrant person, a bundle of energy, enthusiasm. She is an author, she's a speaker, she's a podcaster, and the list goes on. I think let that come out through our conversation. But I want to say something unique about Michelle. While she looks so good and healthy, for her, like how she gets invited to speak somewhere, she just goes and speaks with a lot of enthusiasm, excitement. She goes through surgeries like that. Can you believe she's had, I don't know how many number of surgeries. Do you remember the number? Okay, 8 surgeries. And I think she had one very recently. And even being in the hospital, she'll be posting on Facebook. She's adding value, sharing her experience. I think how one can embrace their life challenges of life. I think she's one of those examples of how you can embrace anything in life and still smile and stay happy. That's unique about Michelle, and the rest we will understand. Michelle, thank you so much for joining in. It's totally my pleasure. That early in the morning. And again, a warm welcome to all the audience who have joined in here. The format today is for us, we are here and we would want to, like, as the flyer information is gone, ask the experts. So Michelle and I will be sharing as speakers, and Shravan will be sharing as a curator. Of very rarely you get to speak to a curator. Normally you find a lot of speakers, but very rarely you went. So we have this good combination across the globe. And being an Indian, he became a curator there is again a really big thing doing in a different country. So we will be sharing our experience. Please feel free to ask us any question related to speaking, TEDx, etc. And we are more than happy to answer all these questions. Any question or comments and thoughts, please do ask. Maybe we will start with one of the basic question, what it means to be a speaker first before even going on to the TEDx platform. So let me start probably as a person initiator of this live event, what it means. For me, being an effective speaker is not about sharing my knowledge, my perspective. While I do that, that's more a medium, but the objective is what is that I'm able to give as a takeaway to my audience? Am I able to connect them at an emotional level? Did it make an impact to audience what I said? So it's more about the audience, any speaking, even if it's one-to-one speaking. One thing I've learned is there anything, one of my mentor says, it's not about what you tell the person, it's about how you make them feel. I think that is what effective speaker, whether you're doing a public speaking for large audience or as an author or as a one-to-one or any form of talking, if you can make them feel good about themselves. This reminds me of a story. One of the journalists went and met ex-Prime Minister of India, uh, Indira Gandhi, and she spent an hour. She came back and wrote, she said, how great, I met a great personality today, how great she is, etc. After a couple of months, she goes and meets Mother Teresa and interviews her, spends an hour with her. And she comes back and tells, saying, I realized how great I am as a person. I think that's the speaker's role here, to share what it means to be an effective. How do you make the audience feel and what is that you can add value? Yes, Michelle, would you like to add something to this?
I think you said that quite concisely, very well. And the quote that I always have in my head is the Maya Angelou quote. It doesn't matter how many, what you know, it's how you make them feel. And I do the same thing as a speaker. And it was why we were so effective in our TEDx's that we did, was we were able to touch people's hearts, that they were like, you know what, I didn't even think that, but I feel so much better now. And you opened my eyes to, those kind of expressions coming back after speaking is so powerful as a speaker, to realize I made a difference in someone else's life. And it doesn't matter, so many people have, we're Toastmasters, right? People have fear of speaking, of public speaking. And when you get over the fact that it's not about you as the speaker, it's about the people in front of you and what you can provide and give to them to lift them to another level. That's where the power is. That's what effective public speaking is to me.
Very nicely.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing that. So, a quick question I have probably as an audience. So when we speak, how many people are we supposed to impact? Okay, that's a good answer. One person. Okay. Shravan, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. One of the when Srividya came to give a presentation, to give the TED talk at Colorado Springs, she came only a couple of days before, I think one day before,
Yes.
And she had to practice, so she went. So I took her to the venue, and she was practicing. And it so happened that a lady came with a ticket, and we told her, "Hey, it's tomorrow, not today." And she said, "Oh my God, I can't come tomorrow. It's I can." Yeah. Then we said, since Srividya is practicing, why don't you just sit there and watch? And so Srividya practiced, and this lady started crying. And so we asked her what happened. She said, my husband died recently, and he had been taking care of the house. He has been doing everything for all the years. And suddenly I have to, do everything by myself. And now listening to Srividya's talk, I realized I can do it. I can move forward. And that was a really big, she changed a person's life, and that too in a very difficult situation, where this lady, probably she looked like she was in her 60s. So she must have been married for a long time. And, so that was I could see it. I saw the change happen right in front of me. So that is what communication is, where, you spoke and you touched that person's heart. And, well done, Srividya.
Oh, thank you. I had actually forgotten about it, but when you shared, I could relive those moments now. Yes, I think that gave you even confidence to, okay, tomorrow's show will go well. I remember you saying that.
Yes, that I did say that, because I was worried about how tomorrow was going to be. And that definitely made me comfortable too.
Thank you for bringing the memory back. While we are talking, there's a question from audience. What do you all think is the most important or best way to reach across culture to be effective? Okay, Michelle, I'll let you go first, then I will share my views.
The best way to reach across cultures is to be authentically you, we are all human. We all have hearts. We all love, we all hurt. We're sad, we're happy. We are the same. We're just on other continents, it doesn't really matter. So when you speak from your heart, you speak to the other hearts. And that's how I've traveled the world, is I speak truly from my heart, what I feel, the truth and nothing but the truth. And I just kind of do it. And I think that's what reaches, is people see that realness, the care, the love, the authenticity of what I bring to the world. And I know that's the power with you too. And same with Shravan. We speak from our hearts. We're not in it for what's in it for me. It's what can I give? What do I have that I can give back to you? And I know that is the power of reaching across lines, because I've been everywhere. Thanks a lot, Shravan. I've been everywhere. And it's because of that heart talk. And people are hurting around the world. And it was pre-COVID. It doesn't matter. The world is always hurting, and they're always looking for love or acceptance or something of that nature, something that makes them belong to a whole. And to speak from your heart brings us all together, makes us one.
Absolutely. Well said, Michelle. If I have to add, I think when we are going across, as I said, human beings are human beings, no matter what color, what creed, nothing matters. The emotions are the same, no matter which part of the world we are. But perhaps when we share some examples, a tip to share is to do a little understand the culture where we are going. What works, what doesn't work. So little homework about that culture, I think, gives us more confidence to talk about there. Because I'm sure Michelle and I have gone through that when we go across the ocean and talk to other part of the world. Just doing that little bit of homework, that's enough. Rest of it, Michelle has said, just do that little homework. You have now internet is there are videos are there, you have coaches who will coach. More than anything, just make a friend in that part of the world, talk to them. They will tell you all about the local, what it means and what needs to be done, whether it's what attire to wear, to what is something which is probably perceived wrong. I think that's important to understand. While we talk from our heart, people will see, but some things, and there are not accepted things in that culture. That's important for us to understand if we want to be an effective speaker, because we can put off the people with just using it could be a gesture or some of the words which are not accepted.
Oh yes, big time.
Big time. So that's a caution, a word of caution from my end, to understand the culture.
Yes, know the culture enough that you don't offend when you're out there talking. Especially like in America, women, we wear what we want to wear and we wear very low cut things and things of that nature. And that would be very offensive to different countries or different cultures. So yes, be aware of those kind of things or language that you use. But to reach across, to be effective, still from your heart, but be mindful of the culture. And with me, when I went to the Women's Economic Forum, I had the benefit of having you and Shravan. So I was able to ask both of you, okay, what's acceptable? What should I do? What do I don't do? And jump in. And so, yes, great, great answer.
Thank you. That was Nicholas. Thank you so much for asking that question. Hope you received an answer from us. While we wait, I again, people who many people would have joined now. Again, a warm welcome and a big thank you and gratitude from my end. If today my TEDx has reached 52,000 plus views, I'm sure it wouldn't have happened without support of each of you who are here and the others who would like to join but could not join. I mean, that's I feel content that I could do little. And when I hear the stories of after watching the TEDx talk, how it impacted people's life, I think there's a sense of little satisfaction that yes, I'm able to add little value at least, if not more. Yes, Michelle.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of your TED Talk?
Okay, it's called Shakti, the Feminine Power. I spoke from the context of Indian women, but it's the true globally. Because I come from India, I know more information about Indian women, so I spoke about that. But that's the true for all women, the power of women. I mean, if I have to highlight one thing, there's so much of talk about women empowerment. So in India, women are called Shakti, which means power. So I say she's the power. Where's the empowerment? You just need to remind someone and nurture it. We all need the nurture, but yes, the power is within. I think that's the one thing I want to share. Before I come back to about your TED Talks, Michelle, we have another question from the audience. How to overcome stage fright? Wow, one of my favorite question. One of my really favorite question. I keep doing this exercise everywhere with one of my quote. So I'll go first before I let Shravan or Michelle add to that. Stage fear, where does it come? If we expand the fear, what exactly is the fear? Normally, when I ask people, what's the fear? Okay, don't have confidence, but yeah, what it means. When I break it down, the fear comes down, okay, what if I make a mistake on the stage? I said, yeah, we may make a mistake as human beings. What would happen if we make a mistake? What people will think. So the bottom line of all these fear or confidence, etc., comes down what people will think. That's where I said it's not about what they think. We don't need to impress people. If we come with the intent saying, I want to impress everyone, I want to create an impression, I don't think that works. That'll never work. But if we go with this sincere mindset of saying, I want to express myself. And this reminds me of a great quote by Swami Vivekananda, one of the great leaders of our country, who says, stand up and express the divinity within you. If we can go with that attitude, that mindset, I think fear doesn't come. This is at the mindset level. Then we have to develop the skill, right? So what skills to develop? I will let Michelle, but before that, remember one of these quotes which will help you, saying, we are not here to impress, but we are here to express ourselves. The divinity within us we'll express. So this is the mindset change to overcome the fear and look at it as an opportunity. I have got an opportunity to express myself. When I went through this, when Shravan invited me saying, please come and address us in US, I'm like, oh my God. And TEDx is the whole world is audience. So you're going to address the whole world, because not at that time, because the talk is going to be on YouTube for the entire world to watch. So what am I going to share? There are so many experts. But then I said, oh, I'm here to express. That's it. Then I started building the skills, which I will let Michelle add what skills do we build, Michelle?
The skills? I thought we were talking about overcoming fear.
Yeah, but skills will also help, right? Later, we'll add to the confidence.
to speak on what you know. And so when you have stage fright, now here's the thing, here's a secret. I'm an international speaker. I still have stage fright. Why do I still have stage fright? Because I care. When I meet anyone who says, I don't get scared before I go on stage, I've got this down, I do, then you're not there for the right reason. You should have some sort of anxiety of some sort because you worry, you care. If you have no emotion about it and you just go on stage, there's something missing. It's more about you than about them. And so with me, people say how high energy I am on stage. I'm high energy because I take my nervous energy and I'm bouncing behind the stage, and then I come up and I'm singing, or I do something because I let that energy out and I transform the nervousness to the energy that I give back to my audience. So if you believe you have stage fright, great. That's wonderful. That means you care and you want to give something to the audience. That is so honorable. Now go out there and talk about what you know. That's the skill. Share what you know. Don't start, giving things that you don't know and you're trying to remember it in your head. No, speak from your heart. Know what you're talking about, and it will just come out of you. And so you have your basic ideas, your main points, but don't get stuck on, oh, I forgot to say the word the. Oh, wait, and start counting your words backwards. No, if it comes out, it's meant to come out. Because when you're in front of an audience, when you are presenting like that, it's not about you. And that's what takes a lot of that nervousness away was, you know what, I'm so excited to be here and I can't wait to share. That's not scared. That's excitement to share. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So yes, if you have stage fright, good on you.
Thanks, Michelle, for sharing that. Just to add, sometimes if you want to get over the fear, practice. I think there is a lot into practice. Yeah, while she's saying the outcome, but I'm sure all our first speeches we have practiced like a number of times.
Oh, and here's the thing about practicing. A lot of people just practice and read and read and read and read. The way I practice for my TEDx is I went from Toastmaster Club to Toastmaster Club to Toastmaster Club. Okay, I went to so many clubs saying the exact same speech over and over again. Why? Because I'm a kinetic learner. If I just read my speech, I wouldn't remember it. I had to do it to remember it. And what you all didn't realize at the time at TEDx, I had just obtained a traumatic brain injury. So I was not functioning with, I was missing 4 parts of my brain, and I went on that stage and spoke. But because I went out and did it, physically did that talk, enough of it stayed in my brain that I was able to do it. So practice. Listen to yourself and record yourself.
I think that's beautiful recording. There's another quote which I really keep sharing is that you must inspire yourself before you inspire others. So when you record and listen, if you feel like listening, that means you're good. And trust me, audience will also love it. I think there are a couple of other questions related to that, saying, what should you concentrate on? What are you passionate about? Or what do you think the audience can benefit? This is from a friend for both of us, Michelle. Minku is asking us this question. What should you concentrate? Yes, first is what you're passionate about. Absolutely right. And that also connect with audience. If I'm talking here today about some science and physics, and I'm sure maybe I'm passionate about it, but this audience may not connect. I'm sure each of us have multiple passions. So choose something which matches both. Is what I would say. I'm sure, Shravan, you can say, because you had a theme and you invited so many speakers. So just would you like to add something about this question to this question?
The question is, what are you passionate about? Or what do you think the audience can benefit hearing? So first of all, when you are on a stage or you're talking, obviously there is a particular agenda. Okay, so obviously you have to talk about that agenda. So you have to talk about that agenda from a, like Michelle and Srividya said, it has to come from your heart. So you talk about your personal experiences, your passion, and then, and speak about the agenda. So what audience can benefit hearing, that is a very a slippery slope. You don't really know what the audience is thinking also. So it's better to do what you think is right, and a certain number of audience will like you for who you are, certain audience will not like it. And that is going to be true in all cases.
Very true. Thank you, Shravan, for that response. So I have a couple of more questions, so we will move on. Is feedback important or outcomes? Okay. Uh, Feedback is important or outcome? I think they are kind of connected. Okay, let me share my experience. When I was practicing, when I was preparing for my this big event of TEDx talk, or I do for any talk, is I do a lot of homework. I'm sure that is what every speaker does. And then you take feedback from the relevant people, saying, is this what, if you were an audience, would you like this? I mean, I did that running through Shravan and few of my friends to see, and then received all their feedback. But again, you process it and you decide finally as a speaker what you want to do. But yes, you need to consider all the feedback, and that will connect to the outcome. And sometimes we receive feedback after the outcome, right? Not
Yes.
before the outcome. Right? So it's very difficult to say which is important, which comes first. This was what I went through. When I was preparing, I was asking, both Shravan and I were discussing, how do we know the audience have received it? How will I get a feedback? Know that, right? I mean, in these large speeches, you won't know. There won't be any formal feedback form. They fill it, but it's already too late. You will improve for further, but you need some instant feedback or some kind of confirmation how the audience have felt. So we went through this thing. How do I know? I've come all the way from India. I'm coming to Colorado, US, and me talking about my country, my women of my country. How will the audience receive? Will there be an impact? How do we know? Then finally we went through this saying, okay, people will applaud if the talk has gone good. That people will do even out of courtesy at the end of the conversation. So we don't know whether they've really received or not. Then we went through a further and said, we came up saying, okay, if people actually stand up, standing ovation, they will do it only when they like it, not otherwise. So I just want to share some secrets here as a speaker. So Shravan and I kept a goal, rather a vision, saying, okay, what do we want? Yeah, if they stand up at the end of the talk, that means they have received well, and that should be our somewhere. So I started visualizing as I practiced. So every practice, I would sit and visualize the talk is going well. I mean, I'm sharing the power of visualization, the power of goal, right? So I used to visualize saying, audience are happy receiving me. I'm talking confidently. They're happy. I am happy. Everything is going good. And guess what? Shravan will validate, and Michelle was there. Yes, the entire audience stood up at the end of the talk. And bonus, there are a set of people stood up even in between the talk. And there were multiple applause even in between the talk. I mean, these were the bonuses of validation. So live feedback, what you get. If I've answered that to Ajita, because we receive sometimes later or before.
I have to say, I think my audience sang with me at the end of my talk. And nowadays with social media, one of your fastest feedbacks you get, how I know something goes right, really well, is you get a lot of Facebook requests and a lot of Instagram followers, book sales go up. I mean, all of those kind of things are also feedback, but mostly it's the feeling. You can feel an energy in a room. Well, I can feel an energy in a room.
Okay. There are more questions actually. So sorry, Shravan, you can answer, because there are more questions. I would like to answer all the questions, keeping in mind the interest of time. Okay. Then you can add as and when it's appropriate. So there's another question. Michelle Mras is unapologetically you, kind of her tagline. Shravan and Srividya, what would you say your tagline? Okay. Yes, I will say my tagline, which I have. It's there in everywhere. My tagline is, you must inspire yourself before you inspire others, which is what I said. If I don't like to hear my own voice, my own talk, there are people I've heard, oh, I've recorded, but I don't want to hear my talk. That means somewhere you're not okay with it. Yes. That's my tagline. Shravan, what's your tagline?
I think the tagline which I am looking at this time is powerful we are. that's what I try to tell the students at Usmania University, where we have formed a group called the Entrepreneurship Cell. And that is the tagline which we are using is powerful we are.
Amazing. So I'll repeat all the three taglines for those of you who have not been able to read. Michelle, I'll let you repeat your tagline.
Be the best version of you, unapologetically.
Amazing. My tagline is, you must inspire yourself before you inspire others. Shravan, just repeat.
Powerful we are is the tagline.
Amazing. Amazing. So we have a couple of more questions. Then next question is same, that do you have any tips or techniques to remember your speech? I often tend to forget parts of my speech or talk. Okay, great. Michelle, you want to go first? Should I go first?
Sure. I have a brain injury. I have a traumatic brain injury. I'm missing 4 areas of my brain. So how often do you think I forget what I'm saying? A lot.
Very often.
So what I do with my speeches, and this is a great way to remember your beginning. Your beginning must be powerful. It must be able to catch their attention within 3 seconds of you opening your mouth. Then remember your end. It needs to tie with that beginning. And that's how you can remember them easily. It's like a circle. It kind of catches itself again. Then you give yourself 3 points, 3 big points that you want to remember. And it doesn't matter if they come out in the wrong order, just make sure you get them and your whole talk will come through. And so with me being a kinetic visual learner, I have an image for each of those words that will trigger different parts of my speech. So I have my beginning, and then I see a picture of something. So like in my Eat, Drink, and Be Merry TED Talk, the first one is eat dessert first. You have a plan. So I have a calendar in my head. Then the next one was eat dessert first. I had a piece of cake in my head. And then the third one was the differences between a rut and a grave are the dimensions. And I had a grave in my head. So that's how I did my entire talk. And I do it very often. I have beginning, the end, 3 pictures in my head. And that tends to help me a lot.
Great. Thanks so much, Michelle, for the tips. If I have to add, I think one is important. We don't need to say all that we have prepared. Let's get there. Audience will not know that we have missed something, right? It's who we know. And as I said, we don't have to say everything we plan. Yes, there has to be a plan. There has to be a preparation. You prepare so well. That's where the practice really helps. And for me, what I do, I kind of get the whole flow. And then the keywords, I keep it. So just before my talk, I look at my keywords. And so each of us have to figure out, and just remember, you don't have to remember everything. It's okay.
And here's something else. I always have an index card with me, yes, right before my speech. And I have my beginning, my end, and the 3 points. And right before I go on, I look, and then I put it away. But here's the key point with speaking. I practice with only this. I don't practice with the entire speech. So I'll read the whole speech in my phone, record it, listen to it for 3 days or so, put it down, then only write the 3 points, the main point, the beginning, the end, the 3 points, because then I have to see, will I be able to do it again? And so as I'm traveling down the road, as I'm doing whatever, I'm washing clothes, whatever I'm doing, I say the speech out loud. And then I'll do, ooh, I missed that point. And then I'll listen to it in my recorder again. Listen, oh, that's what I wanted to say. Is it really that important to say that? Because if my brain didn't want to remember it, is it important? It's not. So I take it out. And then what happens when I say it for real happens. I don't stumble. I don't say, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. No one knows. Just keep going.
I think that's wonderful, Michelle. We have shared some tips about it, and we have another question, a couple of more questions rather. It's so exciting. Thank you so much, everyone. It's so exciting to look at so many questions. Thank you, everyone who have joined or who've been joining through. Very, very happy. How do I manage that initial fear when I start a talk among an audience? Okay, great. Let me answer that first. I know simple tips. I call it butterfly technique. Okay. So we all have butterflies in our stomach, right? When we want to talk. I mean, that's symbolically. So we go through oh my God, I have butterflies. So three simple steps to manage the butterflies. Like Michelle said, any speaker will have this. There is nobody. But the difference is we have learned to manage it, live through it. That's the only difference. So 3 step. 1, just go, and just before you go walk into the stage, do a couple of deep breaths. Trust me, it really helps. So when you do these deep breaths, some of the butterflies will sleep. Okay. Second is just go and, like she said, start singing, start talking, just open your mouth. So some of the butterflies will fly away. Okay. Just visualize that way. Third technique is like your movements. Not only your tongue and mouth should talk, your entire body should talk. So the non-verbal is very effective. So what happens when you start moving your hands? Most often the speaker challenges, what do I do with hands? This is what I've heard everyone asking me, like, I want to become a speaker, but I don't know what to do with my hands. So I'll tie like this, or I'll set the hair, which is already right, or I tie behind, or I keep doing something where I don't know what to do. The best way is involve your hands to your talk. So what happens? Your butterflies will move along with you, so they will not disturb you. Okay, so 3 tips of butterfly techniques. Just come and start with a smile. I think even more, the moment you get onto the stage or dais, just smile. That will relax your entire muscles and nerves, and then you're good to go. So that is the 30-second. These are the few tips. Yes, Michelle wants to add something.
I do a whole training on it called Amplify Your Magnetism. And one of the tricks I use before I go on stage, and I'm sharing with all of you right now, is, have you ever been in a bad mood and then you put on your headphone and you have your music and suddenly your bad mood goes away? Music is power. So even if you can't sing, have a song in your head that makes you feel like you need to feel on stage, makes you feel powerful, makes you feel exuberant, whatever that feeling is. So like when I go on stage, the song that comes in my head, I sing, I'm every woman, it's all in me. And I have it singing really loud in my head. As I'm in the back of the stage, I'm usually dancing. So get that energy out, because what that does is it brings your energy up, it puts a smile on your face, and then you're able to get those butterflies to fly in formation for you when you're on stage. It's a wonderful way of shifting energy inside of your brain, shifting your mindset very fast.
Great. Thanks so much, Michelle. Hope that was helpful. Let's go into next question. I often get carried away as I'm talking. How can one not do that? Yes, I think this is one common challenge as speakers. For me, how that helps is my preparation, the structure you put in, right? As I said, the structure, really go through what you want to talk. What you want to talk. In fact, I have my mentor who's seasoned speaker, seasoned trainer, and my father who's 82 years today. He still gives speeches and discourses. I have seen him. He'll keep the time clock and he'll actually practice even now, despite of so many years. I think that is the only way. Preparation is the key to not get carried away. And this is what I've heard. I'm sure many Indians are here. You have heard of our great Amitabh Bachchan. Do you know that before his first Kaun Banega Crorepati show, I'm talking about one of the great heroes in India, the Bollywood hero Michelle, if you're wondering. So for the Kaun Banega Crorepati show, actually he did 50 rehearsals before his first show going live. That's the only way. Otherwise, as human beings, we get carried away very easily. And I want you all to know, audience who've joined in a little late, just to know Shravan was a curator of a TEDx talk. You very rarely you get to hear, you only get to hear from the TEDx speakers, but we have Shravan who's a curator. Anyone wants to ask something very specific to him, please do ask, while Michelle and I will talk as speakers. Okay, we already have a next question come up. Each time I practice talking on a topic, it changes the content from the previous one. How do I handle this? Okay, is that a problem? Not really. I'm sure we are bettering every time we talk. Every time I talk the same topic, it need not be the same. Just let's understand, it need not be the same. If you're bettering it, why not? That's what we need to do actually. Yeah,
It's
every
called
time.
growth.
Yeah, we need to improve. We need to improve from once to the second time to the third time. That's where we become, we get better at it.
Yeah.
What's the best way to listen to a large audience while giving a talk? Okay, yeah, I think this question was there earlier as well. Yeah. What's the best way to listen to a large audience while giving a talk? How do you listen to the audience? Okay. Best way to listen is to look at their body language, look into their eye contact is very important. They will listen to you. I mean, there is a trick, there is a thing called 360-degree or 90-degree. You have to go. If you have a large audience as a speaker, you need to practice from looking from this to this, the whole 180-degree turn. And depending on what the setup, it's 180, 90, or 360-degree turn, right? You have to look at the audience. The tendency for speakers is when somebody acknowledges, you tend to focus on that set of people, because they are acknowledging you. So you tend to talk to them. That's something again, this comes from from the practice, that you have to look, everyone is there. And if they're not listening to you, it's just look at them, they will listen to you. Eye contact is very powerful, and the smile is very powerful to connect to the audience. Shravan, would you like to add something? Because you have had so many speakers during your TEDx. How did the speakers listen to the audience?
I think, Srividya, I think you answered it very well there. I don't think there is anything more to add from my side.
Yes, Michelle, go ahead.
Okay, the largest audience, live audience in person in a room I've spoken to is 3,000, might be 4,000. You cannot see all their eyes. So what you do is you look at the front that you can see. And if they're far away from the stage, like this one was, you look for their body language. If they're sitting back, you've lost them. If they're sitting forward, you have them. If they're sitting there looking at their phones and talking to their friends, you probably lost them. But if their phone is on and it's up, they're probably recording you. So that's a good thing. Now, it's really hard. It's good to look out to the audience, but to actually look at the audience when it's very big, it's almost impossible. And in the virtual world like we are in now, where all of my talks pretty much are all virtual, you can't even see the audience. So like even with all these questions coming up, we can't see them. We can't see your faces. We are responding to the energy you're giving us in the questions. So don't get too hung up on having to look at the eyes. Sometimes, like with now, we have to pretend the eyes are there. We have to pretend the eye contact is there. So our eye contact now is a camera. So it can be done without seeing their faces. Like in the TEDx in Colorado Springs, the spotlight, my height, I'm only 5 foot. The spotlight was right in my eyes. I could not see the audience. All I could see was someone's feet and a little girl sleeping. And so to me, the audience was not there. And so I was speaking to an empty room. So don't let not seeing the audience hold you back, because as an audience grows or how the lighting is in the stage, you may not see the audience. So what you do when you're practicing and you make sure you have your 3 points is you imagine what people are reacting like in the audience at those times, and then you react with them. So when you say a joke, you look out and you smile and you pretend you're seeing them, because sometimes you don't.
Thank you so much. Another way to draw the attention of the audience is to ask questions. If you see they're distracted, just ask a question. Even if they don't respond, however the large, but that question they will answer in their mind. So we have next 2 interesting questions to Shravan now. Somebody from Bangalore, Minku, is asking, they want to set up a TEDx here in Whitefield. So do you have any tips to start?
Thank you, Minku, for asking this question. It's a very good idea to, start the TEDx. When I decided to do the TEDx Colorado Springs curator, the first thing I had was I wanted to make sure that what what I was doing was going to help Colorado Springs. I wanted Colorado Springs to go up. The prosperity of Colorado Springs has to go up. The education of Colorado Springs has to go up. So as a whole, Colorado Springs has to grow, develop, okay? That is the only, so that's the goal I had while I, became the curator. And every volunteer I brought to the event, I spoke about that. I said, don't worry about money, don't worry about anything else. First thing is, this is our city. We need to care about our city. So this is something we spoke for hours and hours and hours. And so that's what I think you should do, because we started with, basically one person, me, right? And then we had about 76 volunteers by the end of this TEDx. So the first thing is, make sure you say, this is my city. How am I going to benefit my city? Because you have to take care of your city, right? So that's the first one. And if you keep that, there is one saying called, keep the main thing the main thing. And that's what I think should be the main thing. And everything else follows. There are a lot of other things that will come. But if you can just keep that one thought, everything else will follow.
Shravan, next question is also for you. A connected question is saying, somebody's asking, how are you drawn to these two ladies? So primarily the question you could answer is, how did you choose the speakers? I mean, while two of us or the rest, so what made you choose us and the in general others? In specific, us, in general others.
Yeah, definitely.
We would also love to hear that, right, Michelle?
So, obviously, I met Michelle only during when she came to give a talk before for the TED Talk. We had people to come and talk. We had a panel of judges, and we wanted people who are interested in being TED speakers to come and speak in front of them. That's the first time I met. And while she was waiting outside, I just felt like she was going to do it. She just had that energy. And I said, wow, you're going to make it. And then I saw her speak. And after that, she came out and she was saying, am I going to get selected? I said, you should. And I am not the, person who is, deciding, but I'm sure the judges will see what I have seen in you. And she got selected, by all the judges. So I think I played a very little role in Michelle getting selected. What I did with Michelle was, I saw the power she had. And so I said, either she has to go first or she has to go last. And so I decided that she was going to go last, because I wanted all the audience to go with energy. So that's how, and with Srividya, I spoke with her when she was in Canada, I think. And then I became a good friend with her. And I always felt, that she was really special. And I said, when I became the TED curator, Srividya just popped into my head and said, I really want this, woman to come here. Because again, what I was thinking was, what can I do for Colorado Springs, right? And Colorado Springs has a particular quality. And we are, there is a particular quality about it. And I felt like if Srividya comes all the way from India, we are going to add a value which Colorado Springs has not seen before. And that was what I wanted to do. So when I felt like Srividya was going to add that value, that new energy to Colorado Springs. And she did. And when she came here, not only her talk was excellent, but after that, she gave many talks within Colorado Springs, and she met many, many people. And still, many of those people talk very highly of you, Srividya. So thank you for coming all the way from India. And by the way, I have to tell one more thing about Srividya. I did not promise her any money. I said, I can't give you a ticket. That is too expensive for me. And she said, that's okay, I'll come by myself. And she came by herself. And luckily, we had more money than we expected. And so we were able to pay her for the ticket. But I was so impressed that she paid for her own ticket. She believed in herself, and she came all the way. And that has inspired me even since then. I still think about it. I think this young woman just said, I'm going to do this, and came all the way. So thank you very much, Srividya.
Thank you so much, Shravan. I just want to add here, Shravan did not just invite me for the talk. We were figuring out all the, the money aspect. He said, you can come and stay with me. He actually hosted, his wife and kids were so nice. They hosted me and I stayed with them. And, after that relationship is continuing. Any case, thank you, Shravan. I'm sure Michelle will join me in thanking you for choosing us. Right. We have next question is, how do you stand out in the application process to be selected as a speaker? We'll let Shravan answer this again. It's a TEDx process. How did you choose in generally all the speakers, and how does one get into a TEDx platform? I think that's something most of the people want to know, how to get onto TEDx platform.
So we had our own, we created a process where we asked people to send their application, and then we had a panel. We had a video. They had to send a video application, and then we had a panel where they spoke. So we had a first cut, and then after that, they, once the people who got selected in the first cut, then they came and presented before the panel. So that's how we did it. I really feel like the main thing is, when I looked at Michelle or Srividya, I knew they were ready. I was just facilitating. I just knew I was lucky to be able to put them on the stage. If not me, I think someone else would have put them on the stage. So I think you have to be ready. You should know, you should feel that. And the more you feel it, I think, you will be properly placing yourself in the application process. So obviously you have to apply, but when you feel that you are ready, then your application will stand out by itself. So I think
believing in self, right? Believing in our own self that, yes, I can do it is what takes you. I think there are two ways normally one can apply. If you for those who wants to get onto the TEDx platform, is that you can look around on the website, go to the TEDx website and see where is it happening, upcoming events, and you can apply. Or sometimes, like somebody like me, my network, thanks to my network, I get invited. Yeah, so yes, anyone can become. A question is, can anyone become? Yes, anyone can become, as long as you have a message to convey. And most of the time TEDx is talking about our personal stories, which are more powerful. If you have a story to share, and if you know how to share it powerfully, effectively, is all it means. So before aiming to be a TEDx speaker, my suggestion is just become a first effective speaker. I think then you will automatically, it's another platform to get on. But first step is to become an effective speaker, where you have some story to share, you have some some topic to share, some idea to share, is what helps. Then we have another quick question. So how to practically use the energy of Shakti as a woman to genuinely push past fears and share painful stories that need to be shared? Wow. Yeah. As a Shakti question, so I think all of us have, first thing we need to remember, all of us have both masculine and feminine energy. That's so important. We forget that with our upbringing, and we try and use only one energy, either the feminine or the masculine, depending on our genders and the cultural upbringing. First, it's important to know we have both the energies, and we can use as and when it is required. So the balance is the key. Right? So if we have to share a story and express our vulnerable side of us, I think it's the best way to do it. We hesitate. Why should we hesitate? Because earlier I would never share something. Then I realized if I share, if that's inspiring someone, if I'm able to add value or some takeaway, we should share, even if it is our the sad story of our life, whether it's personal or health or whatever it is. If you've seen, those of you who have watched my TED talk, I have shared my own personal story. But I chose not to get into the get into that sympathetic mode of, oh my god, I went through all this, but to say, yeah, this is what happened, this is how I handle. I think that approach is best, rather than getting into the self-sabotage or sympathetic mode. So when you share your personal story, that is how it becomes effective. The Shakti is just believe we have that Shakti in us, which is the power. We just need to nurture it.
And I'd like to add to that, when you're sharing a powerful story in your life, make sure you're over it more, that it's not a fresh wound. Because I've seen people go on stage with, someone just passed away last week, and then they go up and talk about it, and they break down so much that they can't think and they can't move, and it locks them up. Don't do that to yourself. Give yourself some time to process through the grief or whatever you're going through before you give it on stage. Because yeah, that's a dangerous topic to jump into. Stay away from that, stay high level so that you don't fall and lose control of your mind.
Thank you, Michelle. So we have a couple of more questions and we are almost, the time is over. We need to wrap up. Can you believe it's already an hour? Oh my God, I can't believe that. So can anyone, yes, guys, anyone become a TEDx speaker? I think I've answered most of the questions. Before we wind up, I just want to again express my gratitude. I want to mention few names. I couldn't do this so effectively without the support of each one of you, whether it is you, in the preparation, many of my mentors, my professor Vaidyanathan, Vasanthi Srinivasan, the professors from my alma mater, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, or my friends who helped me to practice, Sharda, my young friend Animik, and my friend Anish, who stood by and made me practice, and corrected me in every way. You need such great friends who give you inputs. You need mentors. I'm not able to mention all the names. I'm just mentioning few names because the list is huge. And of course, Shravan stood with me. He gave me that confidence, and he took the risk of inviting me all the way here. And that was one of my apprehension, not fear. Apprehension is good to have because that sets you on the into action. Fear pulls you down, but apprehension is good to have a little healthy apprehension. So my sincere gratitude, of course, to my family who stood by me, many of my friends in different ways. It is outcome is, so I keep saying I was only a representative of every woman or every Indian woman who went and spoke there. And it's not about Sri Vidya. It's just, I was only a representative. So I took all the energy of everyone when I went and spoke, and that's how the outcome is. I just want to again express my gratitude to everyone, and thank you everyone for joining in. Special thanks to Shravan and Michelle. And Michelle, what would you like to, as a parting words, what would you like to share?
Stop apologizing for what you're not. Embrace who you are and be the best version of you unapologetically. Remember, I did this TED Talk with 4 areas of my brain not working. I was not diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury yet. So if I can do it, not remembering most things and having my husband have to dress me, okay, that's how bad I was. And it was my 47th birthday. You can do it too. Believe in yourself. And as me and Shravidya had done, we borrowed the belief that Shravan had in us. So who do you have in your world that believes in you? If you can't believe in yourself enough to get on that stage, someone in your world said, I believe in you. Take that belief and apply. Get onto those TEDx stages. And if you need a coach, if you need someone, reach out to us. You're all on our Facebook. You can all click on us and say, hey, I need help with, because that's what it is. Sometimes we just need someone else to believe in us to help us get to that next step. And I remember that day, even with my brain injury, I remember Shravan looking me in the eye and he said, you were amazing. And I remember feeling, I'm going to be in. And I left feeling that I was in because I believed in him and I didn't even know him. So be the best version of you, be unapologetic, and borrow the belief if you need to until you believe it yourself.
Thank you, Michelle. Shravan, what would you like to tell all our audience, being a curator and being who you are?
Thank you. Thank you for asking me to be on this live show. I always say this: life is a conversation. It is a conversation with yourself, or it is a conversation with others. All this physical reality which you are seeing has been created by this conversation. If you look at an aeroplane, it might have started with an idea in your brain, but then you started talking with others, collaborating with others. So this is the conversation. So this conversation which we are having is, again, this conversation, we don't know how many things are going to come out of this conversation. So keep talking, keep expressing yourself, and you will see and make your dreams come true.
Great. Thank you so much, Shravan. What I wanted to say is this experience journey, Shravan, for both Michelle and I, changed our life in many folds. I think our, if I can say, our brand value went up, right? And this, your little efforts of inviting us and we sharing, I couldn't believe that I will have 52,000 people watching my talk. I just never thought about it. I think that shows how did it happen. I think the sincerity with which we do, like both of you shared, it's about the audience. It's you want to give something. That being in that working with sincerity definitely helps. Take the inspiration. Each one of us have something to share. We are no different. We're not. And even in my TEDx talk, I have spoken about few of the women whom I am inspired, whom I know personally. They were all born ordinary. Nobody is born with any special, whether it's my great great grandmother's story which inspired me, or I've spoken, I just want to extend my thanks to Manjula Sridhar, Dr. Malati Holla, Sheila Anish, who allowed me to share their story. And that's been quite inspiring to everyone. Pardon me if I have missed somebody to acknowledge today, because there's so many people I need to acknowledge. And I think the acknowledge, appreciate, and apologize when the need is there. I think these three qualities is important for us as speakers. I'm sure you agree, right? Acknowledge everyone, appreciate for every small thing. This is what I've learned from our great ex-president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Appreciate everyone. And if required, apologize. By apologizing, we are going to grow high and not go down, no matter what it is. So with these three messages, and to say again, you must inspire yourself before you inspire others. And we are not here to impress, but we are here to express. So stand up and express the divinity within you. With this, again, thank you so much, Michelle, Shravan, and all of you who have joined with me. It's a great pleasure, privilege, and I wish all the best, more love and power to everyone. And we are all here to contribute. Thank you so much. Namaskar.